These aren't the stories your mother told you. No, these are the other stories.
If you're not currently a member of the Hawk and Cleaver Facebook group, then I'm sorry to say that you are living in the Matrix, my friend. So grab a red pill, wash it down with a cappuccino, and prepare to unplug yourself by heading to facebook.com/groups/Hawk and Cleaver. Currently, we're running a Krampus-themed poetry competition where the winning entry will win a Blu-ray of Richard Stanley's The Colour Out of Space starring Nicolas Cage, and Facebook admin Joshua Boucher will also be doing another one of his fan favourite Choose Your Own Misadventure Tales in the coming days, so definitely don't miss out. Go to facebook.com/groups/Hawk and Cleaver and join today. Today's episode is A Sky Full of Shooting Starfish, written by Diane Arrelle and narrated by Erica Ventura.
My name is Suzie. You are living in my house, sleeping in my bed, and someday, hopefully, you will go through those boxes in the attic and save me. I know the place is a rental, and I know you are the fourth person to take up residence here since my disappearance. I bet you don't even know about me. About the woman who disappeared one night without a trace. Sure, they suspected foul play or maybe suicide. Well, that's not the case at all. Nope, not at all. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is go through those boxes in the attic. I tried to tell my story to the others before you, but it didn't work. They slept too soundly. Didn't have enterable dreams. I hope you are different. I hope you hear me. I've lived all my life in Arkansas. Never saw the ocean, never saw an iceberg, never saw anything but Arkansas. Not a bad place to live, but I'm a Pisces. I needed to be near the sea. I went to the mall one day after throwing a wishing penny, or 10, into the fountain. I turned and saw the calendar store. I was drawn to it like a fish to a worm on a hook. Suckered in by the calendar in the window. Seascapes to live by. I was shopping for Christmas presents for my friends. And the only family I have, my stepsister. And I thought, wow, calendar. What a great gift idea. I couldn't believe the prices. Shocking. But I didn't care because I was charging it all, and I wasn't worried about the bill. I figured I'd pay it off when I could, a little bit at a time. I wonder if my debt has been forgiven or forgotten after 2 years of being one of the missing. Oh well, I'm drifting off course. I looked at all the selections. There were hundreds of varieties, styles, and sizes, but I couldn't take my eyes off that one with the pictures of the ocean. I thumbed through it, enjoying the views of turquoise blue Caribbean water lapping softly against the pristine white sand, angry gray waves smashing against rugged New England cliffs, glaciers calving, creating icebergs, and California sunsets with surfers silhouetted against the red sky. There were even pictures taken underwater of colorful fish swimming in the reefs. And my favorite, the moon shining down on an endless expanse of black water, covered with shimmering dots of silvery reflection. I know it was dumb, but I bought every copy of the seascapes there and then. I took them home and gift wrapped them all. I bet they are still up there in one of those boxes. Gifts long forgotten, memories belonging to a lost soul. When I finished wrapping them, I had one left over. Well, not really. But I decided that my Secret Santa at work, the crab working 3 desks over from me, didn't deserve such a nice gift. So I kept it for myself. Christmas was still 2 weeks away, so I put them all under the tree except the one I kept for myself. That one I presented to myself with a bottle of wine and a lot of PMS. I took a sip of wine and looked at the first picture, the Caribbean beach. Oh, how I longed to feel the warm water as I imagined myself wading slowly out in it. What I secretly knew in my heart was that just out of the frame was the man of my dreams, waving me into the water to join him. I sipped my wine and stroked the image, and suddenly the water beneath my fingertips was wet with my tears. I didn't bother to wipe my eyes. I only wiped the picture so it wouldn't be ruined. I took another drink and turned to February. The glacier. White on the edges and so blue inside like it had formed around hidden gems. I looked at the giant piece breaking off the main body, caught forever in the act of calving, and I tried to hear the rumbling crack like thunder. Again, I began to cry because, try as I might, I couldn't use any of my other senses, only sight. I looked at March and saw the storm-tossed waves and wondered what it sounded like. I squinted and noticed the ice on the cliff top hanging over the side like daggers, icicles. Them I was familiar with, because although Arkansas is temperate, we had our fair share of icy storms, pretty enough to look at through a safe and cozy window. They were not the ocean. I spent the next few nights drinking wine and taking in the other months. It took so long because I was mesmerized by each scene and the world it represented. Worlds I knew I'd never know, never get to see in real life. I wondered what salty brine tasted like. Yeah, I know, salty, but it had to be different than plain water with salt added. What did each place smell like, and how did it sound? The waves of the California coast? The soft lapping water of the Caribbean? It was like watching a horrible accident. I wanted to turn away, but couldn't. Well, that was me and my accursed calendar. It was killing me. It made me so sad, and yet I hungered to see more. It was on the 5th night that it happened. It was the last night of the Geminids, the best meteor shower of the year. At least they were to me. I'd bundled up and sat outside on a lawn chair looking up to watch the falling stars. I read once in a story that if they fell to Earth and hit the ocean, they turned into real starfish, glowing with inner knowledge that they traveled the universe to end up here, under the blue water forever. They finally found a home at last. They traveled a route I could not, and they were rewarded for their journey's end. I was stuck watching them fall down toward Earth as puffs of my frozen breath reached toward the sky. I was holding my calendar. I never let it go. I needed to feel it, because it meant that much to me. I felt it was magical, just like I secretly still believed in the magic of my lucky 4-leaf clover, or wishing on my birthday candles, or even wishing on a falling star. Well, that night, I had hundreds of falling stars to wish on, and I hugged my ocean scenes and wished over and over again. Take me away from here. Let me see all these places myself. Let me live them. Now that I think back, I should have chosen better wording. Anyway, the best I can figure out, and this is my only guess, mind you, I wished on the one meteorite that made it to the ocean and became that magical starfish. Stupid, I know, but how else could this have happened to me? One minute, I am sitting outside the cold Arkansas night wishing on meteors. The next, I'm in that California sunset sinking like a stone. I struggled, choking as water poured down my throat, and through all the shock and fear, I couldn't help but think, so this is what the sea tastes like. I finally remembered how to swim, rose to the surface and kept my head above water, at least between the rolling, crashing waves. I tumbled head over heels, but somehow I always came up for air. I was scared, confused, terrified, and yet so happy because I finally got one of my wishes to come true. I don't know how long I doggy paddled through the surf, but suddenly one of those surfing silhouettes became very real and smashed into me, bounced over me, and the world went black. When I became aware, I was aware of being cold, colder than I've ever been in my life. My teeth were chattering, and numbing pain was shooting daggers of ice through my arms and legs. I wondered, am I dead? Is this what death feels like? But of course I was wrong. I wasn't dead at all. Not that lucky. I was in the icy Arctic waters near the glacier. I want to go home! I shouted to the sky, but the pale, frozen orb of the sun ignored me. I bobbed, wondering how long I could last. Then, the iceberg broke. What a sound. Magnificent, thrilling, unbelievable. I forgot my misery for just a moment, but the cold was relentless. I thought about the movie Titanic and wondered how anyone could have survived the icy waters. My vision began to close in on itself, and as it narrowed to nothingness, I wondered if I was going to die this time. Eventually, I became aware of warmth and the call of seagulls. I was waist deep in the warmest, bluest water I've ever experienced. It was perfection. I heard someone calling my name. Suzie, Suzie, come and join me already. The man of my dreams. He was out so deep he was just a blur on a sailboat. I waded out deeper, but I couldn't get to him. I'm coming! I called and dove under. No matter how hard I swam, he always remained a blur, just out of reach. I kept going until I was so exhausted, I rolled onto my back and floated, amazed by the buoyancy of the water. Eventually, I closed my eyes, the heat of the sun making me drowsy, and I dozed off, only to wake. Never mind, I could go on like this forever. Let me just say, I've spent days under the water with those gaily colored fish, and I've learned barracudas are territorial, nasty creatures with razor-like teeth. I discovered that the colorful coral reefs were very, very sharp and jagged. I've discovered that being thrown against huge rocks at the bottom of these icy cliffs in a violent, bone-chilling sea is a horrible, bone-shattering experience. I've visited all 12 scenes over and over. I hate to sound ungrateful because how many people do get to have their wish come true, but I can't take it anymore. California has lots of sharks, and sea lions are not the cute, friendly animals we think they are. The black night sea covered in sparkles gets old quickly, and I've discovered wishing on the moon isn't like wishing on shooting stars. The Caribbean is the most comfortable, but I'm sick of that jerk calling me all the time then sailing out of reach. I've been wet for what feels like forever, and I long for a fluffy towel and a hot latte. I want to go home, back to Arkansas. I will always love the ocean, always. But if I ever get out of this, I swear I'll be happy looking at pictures and watching it on TV. I've really learned my lesson. Wishes aren't what you expect at all. Yes, no more wishes for me, and if I ever get out of this calendar, I swear it. Now, listen. I'll be telling you this story every time you doze off, because it only takes once to hear me. I see you twitching in your sleep. Either you can understand me, or it was that right before bedtime pizza. I know it's a long shot, but hopefully you will respond to my call. Go to the attic and find me. I know the calendar is in one of those boxes. Look for the unwrapped, tear-stained one that is about 2 years out of date and has the most amazing photographs of the sea. If you peruse it, you'll see me in a picture. I'll just be a speck off in the distance, but you'll see me if you really try. Check all the photos because I tend to move around a lot. Don't let anything bad happen to that calendar. And when we have the next scheduled meteor shower, go out and wish on every shooting star. Wish for me to come home again. Wish and wish until it works. And if it's not asking too much, perhaps you could also wish that the man of my dreams comes ashore to Arkansas with me? Seriously, what could possibly go wrong with that?
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Other Stories. A Sky Full of Shooting Starfish was written by Diane Arrelle, narrated by Erica Ventura, edited by Karl Hughes, and music by Dark Fantasy Studio and Tom Robson, and sound effects provided by freesound.org. The episode illustration is provided by Luke Spooner of Carry On House. Diane Arrelle, otherwise known as Dina Leacock, has had more than 250 short stories published and 3 books including 2 short story collections, Just a Drop in the Cup and Seasons on the Dark Side. Go to www.arrellewrites.com, that's Arrelle spelled Arrelle, or follow her on Facebook, or go to www.jerseypinesinc.com. Erica is a mother and narrator and visual artist and an animal husbandry technician. How does she manage it all? No idea, but her artwork can be seen on Instagram at EFVENTU, or you can go and visit her artist page at facebook.com/bioartsy. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can help support the show over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. You can join our book club and movie club and chat about the podcast over at facebook.com/groups/Hawk and Cleaver. T-shirts and mugs and posters are available at gumroad.com/Hawk and Cleaver. The Other Stories is a production of the Story Studio Hawk and Cleaver and is brought to you with Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives License. That means don't change it, don't sell it, but by all means share the hell out of it.
Until next time.